So babysitting, did you do anything else around that age?
Oh, before then,
Oh.
I had a job. I was a young entrepreneur.
Love it. I believe it.
I had a newspaper route. I was a newspaper delivery person for years.
I was starting, how old were you?
Okay, so let me do some math. I lived in a town, yeah?
Well, we're language teachers, so math takes a while.
Yeah, I'm really having to
You can
think hard.
fast forward. Hello, Eepers. Welcome to another episode of Extra English Podcast with Misha.
And Larissa. We're two Canadian English teachers talking about life in Canada, our lives, and anything else that might interest us. And hopefully will interest you too.
So join us for another conversation. Today we're going to talk about our first jobs. Mm-hmm. The things we did as youthful teenagers.
Yeah, in the good old days. The good old days? These are good days.
These are also good days.
Yeah.
These will one day be the good old days also. They just keep going.
What was your first job, Misha? Oh, I know. At the library.
Yes, that was my first official, I earned a paycheck job at the library, which was a great first job.
Yeah.
I worked 2 evenings a week and Saturdays.
Okay, yeah. Excellent.
Yeah, it was fun.
But before then?
Oh, well, before that, probably you were the same, I would guess. You can tell us. I babysat.
Yes.
Right? Which most kids my age,
Yeah.
girls my age.
Girls
that I
mostly,
knew
yeah.
Did babysitting, which I started that at 12, I think. Is that how old you were?
Probably, yeah. So I have sisters who are 9 and 11 years younger than me.
Right.
And so when I was 9 years old already, I was very comfortable around babies.
Yes.
And then when I was 12,
Yeah.
I had already had 3 years experience with little kids, and I would often babysit them.
Yeah, yeah.
My parents would pay me when they went out to
would
watch
they?
my sisters.
That's cute.
Yeah. So it wasn't a stretch for me to then go to somebody else's house. In fact, the hardest part for me was not dealing with the children, but rather being without an adult in a strange place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
someone
that
else's
idea
house.
of responsibility and what is that noise? And
I was just thinking that was exactly just being alone, not alone, the closest thing to a grown-up in a house at night by yourself at that age was the hardest part, for sure.
And it is surprising that at 12 we were doing that.
Yeah, I feel like it might not be so common at that young age these days, although I'm not sure.
I don't think so. I mean, so I've had children and I rarely got a babysitter for them.
Yeah.
Often I would call a friend or a parent would come rather than just a teenager. But on the rare occasion that I did get a babysitter, they were 16.
Yeah, older.
Yeah.
16 is when legally in Canada you can get a job. My library job was 16 because they couldn't hire me at 12. I would have done it.
And they would have loved it.
But 16 is kind of the age where people are considered old enough to have a job. So yeah, interesting. But 12 was the age.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't looking after babies. I feel like a baby, it's a different responsibility.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was often school-age children, not even toddlers as much, but school-age children.
Who can know well enough how to get themselves a snack or whatever.
And so I feel like the job was more to entertain them.
Agreed.
And to make sure they got to bed on time.
Yes.
And so that the parents just knew there was someone who was comfortable calling 911 if they needed to.
Exactly. That's right. Who would tell the kids, go to bed.
Yeah.
That was I feel like usually when I babysat, it was you'd go over in the evening, you'd have a snack that you were supposed to give the kids and or supper. And then some activities or read books and then bedtime.
Mm-hmm. And then I would do my homework or watch TV.
Or watch TV. I would watch TV. And eat the snacks usually the parents had left me.
They usually did, yeah.
Do you know, sorry.
Okay.
When I babysat my babysitter's kids.
Wow.
So when I was a little kid, an adult woman babysat my brother and I.
Okay.
And she had kids who we played with, but they were younger. And then when I was old enough, I babysat those kids in their house. It was nice. So a nice little full circle.
Yeah.
And they were a lovely family. So lovely. Yeah.
I remember as a kid being excited when the babysitter would come over.
Yeah, because your job is to entertain, you're fun.
Yeah.
And you're like closer to a kid.
Yeah.
So kids are
Yeah.
more fun for kids.
And partly like, the rules can be bent a little bit.
Totally.
And they're trying to make you like them because they want
Yes.
your parents to call you back.
Yeah.
Call them back.
That's right. Yeah, the babysitter was fun.
Yeah.
I don't remember if I was ever babysat by a teenager. Yeah, I don't know. Interesting.
Did you take a course? A babysitting course?
That is a thing now. Kids will take which is a good idea. Like, I think it includes some basic first aid.
Yep.
but
There are
no.
2 courses. There's one that's called like the Stay Home Alone course, something like that. It has a name like that. And so I think when you're 10 years old, maybe
You can.
a kid can take that course just to, think through all the things about what is it like to be home alone.
There's a lot to think about.
And then there's another one, a babysitting course, which has safety and first aid and that kind of stuff. But if it was offered, I never knew about it.
I never heard about it when we were young.
No.
I mean, once again, as we've discussed in other episodes, we
It
grew up
was
in the
the
80s and 90s. Loose. Everything was it all worked out.
Yes.
Interesting. So babysitting, did you do anything else around that age?
Oh, before then,
Oh.
I had a job. I was a young entrepreneur.
Love it. I believe it.
I had a newspaper route. I was a newspaper delivery person for years.
I was starting, how old were you?
Okay, so let me do some math. I lived in a town, yeah?
Well, we're language teachers, so math takes a while.
Yeah, I'm really having to
You
think.
can fast forward.
It actually doesn't even matter. I was young. Let's say I was less than grade 3. No? What?
Oh, she can't even do that math.
I can't even.
Just teasing.
Let's say I was 7 or 8, okay? And my dad actually procured a newspaper route.
Yes.
This was in a little city that had a 1-day-a-week newspaper.
Oh.
And so once a week, the papers came, and then my younger sister and I would go with him and deliver. He would carry them,
Cute.
and then he'd give us the papers, and we'd run to the houses and deliver them. And then I think we got the money. I don't think he got any.
That was nice of him.
That really was nice
That's
of
a good
him.
way to instill some working skill concept at a young age. That's cool.
Yeah. Then we moved to another town and got another newspaper route. This time I was doing it by myself and often walking in the wintertime with the newspapers in the bag. This was daily, 6 days a week.
More early morning.
No, after school.
Oh, after school.
Yeah, I don't know how they let us do that.
Yeah.
The papers didn't come until we were at school, so it was after school.
Interesting.
Saturday was in the morning, though.
Sure.
But the Saturday paper was thick, and so often my dad would drive us with the papers, and then we'd run and do them.
Do you know what? I'm just thinking as you talk, this might be a bit of a weird concept for
Delivering newspapers.
Yeah, or even the idea of a printed newspaper delivered to houses. It still happens. I live in a condo building where the newspapers are delivered.
Wow.
There's a certain number of people in the building that subscribe to that service.
Really?
Yeah, so I go in the lobby, there's 4 or 5 of them sitting there, and people will, the units that have paid for it will pick it up. But when we were young, I think everybody got it.
Oh, yeah. So I had maybe 3 streets.
Yeah.
And I would say 3/4 of the houses on those streets received the newspaper.
Yeah. So it was every day of the week. And like Larissa said, Saturday was bigger or more.
Yeah. Sunday, there wasn't one of this particular newspaper.
Yeah.
So that's why Saturday was big. But then the interesting, delivering was step 1.
Yeah.
But then they had to pay. Remember, we
Yes.
didn't have...
Did you have to collect the payment?
I had to collect the payment.
Wow.
We called it collecting. We'd go around collecting.
How
Because
often?
they couldn't pay online. We didn't have that
That's right.
system.
Yeah, no.
Right? So every 2 weeks,
Interesting.
I'd have to go. And we had these little cards. They were cardboard cards with the dates printed all around them. And they were held together on a ring. And we had a hole punch. And we'd knock on the door and say, "Hi, I'm collecting for the newspaper." And they'd go get whatever the 2 weeks payment was and give it to me. I'd have to make change. Wow. And then I would punch my card on the dates I had paid for. Yeah. And they had a corresponding card. Yeah. And I would punch their card. Interesting. And then we all knew who had paid.
That's a good system.
Yeah.
And also a good thing for a kid to learn some math.
A little bit.
Didn't stick. Just kidding. No, but you would have learned some basic skills
Yeah.
that are useful and
also like
things.
dealing with people. I hate knocking on doors. I found like I was
no, I hate
very
it.
nervous, but I was there in an official capacity and I
Yeah.
did my job. And I think because it was dealing with strangers and money, my dad often accompanied me on that one because I was young.
And you're a little kid knocking on someone's door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then like we had to count the money at the end.
Yeah.
And the newspaper would tell us how much we had to give them.
Yeah.
And then the rest we could keep.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So the amount that the person paid included your delivery fee.
Yes.
Oh.
And if
that's a good system.
and they would often tip. Like let's say it was
Yeah.
$5.50 or like maybe it was like maybe it was $3.50, let's say, and they would just give me a
Back in the
$5 and
day.
say keep the change. Then
Yeah.
that's all profit.
That is extra for you. That's great.
Yeah.
How long did you do that all the way through high
all
school?
the way through high school.
Wow.
Maybe not like till the end of high school, but certainly certainly into middle school. Eventually, like it was too hard to keep it up with like my homework and my babysitting, and I would go away for the summers to camp. So I think
I was going to say it's a big commitment.
because it's
every
every
day.
day.
Yeah.
So certainly till grade 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's how like I bought my first computer by myself with my paper route money.
Would have been a big thing
It
back
was
then.
it was like physically a big thing and a big big deal. Yeah.
Cute.
Yeah, it was I didn't like it. Right?
Yeah.
Like it's
winter, the rain, like you're going out in all sorts of weather.
Yep.
It's feels like a chore.
like I'd walk home from school and I have to deliver the newspapers, right? I have to do this.
But
and-
having your own money.
Yeah.
Plus it's good. I mean, you have a much better sense of money when you've worked for that money.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I think the earlier you learn that, the better.
Yeah.
I often think if you don't learn some of those like hardworking skills when you're young, I think it's really hard to develop as a adult, you know? I mean, anything can always be improved.
You can, absolutely. And there's other ways for kids to
Yeah.
learn about money, but yeah.
But that's a really concrete, you worked for that money, slogged away every day, then you're going to spend it. You're going to really think about it.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, newspaper delivery.
Love that. Now it would be click.
Yeah.
No, there's still a physical newspaper, but it's a lot
I am
less common.
surprised that I'm glad you told me that because like I still love to read a paper book.
Yes.
Right? Like I would rather read a book that I'm holding in my hands and I'm turning the pages rather than a digital copy.
Yeah.
But I read the news digitally.
Me too. Yeah. But I think older generations still, my building is all older people. I think it's still quite common.
I like it.
Yeah. And they still print like the Saturday, well, all of them, but they have puzzles like crosswords.
Yeah.
People want to do that in person. A lot of
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, with the
Yeah.
paper instead of on your phone.
Cute.
All right, so babysitter, newspaper delivery person. Did you ever work at a restaurant or something?
I was a short order cook.
Oh,
That's the cook who like makes the, you order eggs or whatever, steak and potatoes. That was me.
wow.
But that was after high school. I think that was my first summer home from university.
But that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I liked it. It was all right. I have a scar still from
Wow.
those days because I was responsible, so it's memorable. I was responsible for emptying the oil from the deep fryer.
Oh, no.
Once a week and cleaning it out. So you're like pouring out liters and liters of hot oil and you dump it in like an oil bucket outside. But when I dumped it, I let the pot touch my arm. You can see there's still a mark here.
Oh, yes.
Got a bad burn.
Wow.
Anyway, which I feel like anyone who's worked in a kitchen,
Yeah.
you end up with scars.
Yeah.
But my job, I was thinking the other job I did as a teenager. So I was babysitting. I babysat for my babysitter. Mm-hmm. And then how babysitting works, someone tells someone else. And then, so I ended up with a few families. And one of those families asked me to also do some housekeeping.
Okay.
And she kind of, the mother of that family, showed me how to do it. Mm-hmm. I mean, I knew how to turn on a vacuum, but she showed me kind of how she liked her house.
Yeah.
And I was a housekeeper for them. And then that led into being a housekeeper then through university, which was
Okay.
it was a useful
Yeah.
kind of skill to learn how to
that's good.
clean someone else's house. Yeah. Also we have a term, if you're paid under the table, which means you're paid in cash, which could mean, and I'm not recommending this, that you don't have to report that money anywhere. And you can keep all of it. Which also, I mean, if you're a 13-year-old babysitting, you're not filing taxes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But housekeeping also at that time was a job that I was paid under the table.
Yeah.
Which is kind of fun just like cash in hand. It's nice. I mean, also at that time, there wasn't really, well, no, you could get paid in check.
Check, yes.
These days, often payment's electronic.
Yeah.
But that time, a lot of it was
Yeah, check. Check you had to take to the bank.
cash.
And
Sign it. This was, because even then, you couldn't put it in the machine at that point.
What machine?
Yeah. Now I just take a picture of a check on the rare occasion I get a check.
Maybe like from your grandmother or something, no?
Yeah. Well, some of my neighbors used to rent my parking spot, and they paid me that rent in check.
Oh, in check.
Aforementioned
It's sweet.
older generation neighbors.
Yes.
Yeah, it was nice. It was
love that.
convenient.
Oh, good. So I never worked at a restaurant, but I feel like McDonald's is the quintessential first job for many people.
Fast food, totally. Yeah, classic first job.
Like any fast food, but I've heard that McDonald's is particularly good at training people.
Oh, interesting.
And so if you have that on your resume, then pretty much any other fast food joint or like service
they'll see that
oriented
and think,
thing.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So just putting that out there. I haven't experienced it myself,
Yes.
but I have heard that McDonald's does a good job of training their people.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Cute. But neither of us did that.
No, I worked at a little bit later. I was a young adult. I worked at a racetrack in the banquet hall
Oh, fun.
and in the cafeteria.
Serving food.
Serving
in
food.
both cases.
Yeah. Oh, I actually also worked in the cafeteria at my college.
Oh, yeah.
That reminds me. Like when you have that burn, my sister worked there too. She worked in the kitchen, more in the cooking area, and I worked stocking the salad bar.
Oh, cute. Oh, less likely to burn yourself.
Yeah.
Stocking the
I got
salad
really
bar.
cold when I went into the fridge to replace the lettuce.
Yeah.
But I liked that job because it wasn't just in the back. So when I came out to clean up the dressing that had fallen or to whatever, I could see like my friends at the same time. Like I interacted with people.
Yeah.
But it was also something that I did behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A
Salad
little bit
bar.
of both. Nice balance.
Salad bar girl.
Cafeteria lady.
Yeah. I also
Lunch lady.
didn't really like to eat the salad very much because I knew, like, when you see behind the scenes.
It's when I worked as a short order cook, I ate so much less food in general, and fast food definitely very little. Because yes, it just loses its appeal. Yeah. When I was like smelling the deep fryer all the time, I did not want to sit down and eat a plate of French fries. No, and you see it.
Yeah. At that banquet center, I would often come home smelling fried.
Yes, me
And
too.
like it was in my clothes, it was in my hair.
Just
like,
makes you less.
yeah. But the salad bar in particular, like.
Listen, I love a salad bar, so
Okay, I won't tell you.
Don't ruin
I
it
won't
for
say
me.
anything. It was so amazing and wonderful and fresh. Everything was
Perfectly
perfect.
clean.
Yes. Yes. 100%.
You know, another job I think we both had as teenagers was camp counselor,
Oh yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I did that like at day camps in my town, I think when I was very young. I think they let teenagers do that before they were 16.
Okay.
Does that sound right to you?
Sure.
So I feel like I did that before. Anyway, I was a camp counselor for like a day camp, and we did have to do a little training. We learned a bit of basic first aid, and because we were being super, like there were adults always present.
Yeah.
But you would like have a group of kids, and that was fun.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe because you weren't in charge of something, it's a supporting role.
Yeah. And I wasn't paid. I mean, I don't remember what I was paid. I feel like next to nothing.
Okay. If we talk about how much we were paid, I was a teacher's assistant.
Yeah.
At college, and I was in Saskatchewan at the time, actually.
Oh.
So it's a little bit different here,
Yeah.
but I remember very clearly when the minimum wage, it increased.
Yeah.
And so I was getting paid $5 an hour.
Yes.
And it went up to $5.50
Woo.
which is a big increase.
That is a big increase.
And also
Ratio
$5 an hour?
I know. As soon as I remember it also being, I think I used to get paid for babysitting $3 an hour or $3.50.
Very likely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Oh, if I made $20 in a night,
Yeah.
I felt like I hit the jackpot house. Like, please call me back every weekend. I will move in.
Gonna make the big bucks, the 20s.
But everything cost less, so it made
It also I didn't have a mortgage when I was 12 or every single other bill I currently have. I had no bills. And when I was a camp counselor at overnight camps, that was a little more money. That was a decent amount of money, which I saved and then just spent on university.
Yeah.
Whoosh,
Then
I'm sure it was
you
all
had bills.
years of saving. As soon as I had bills, gone.
Okay, Misha. When you think back to your first job, to those early days, is there any job that you would love to revisit? Like, is there any nostalgia there?
I mean, I recently applied for a library job. I loved the library. I love books. I love the community vibe. I mean, we have a whole episode about the library and how awesome it is.
Yes, yes.
So I would be happy to do that kind of work again. I mean, I had a very teenager role at the library. And I'm not really qualified even still to do too much more than that. Like, I'm not a librarian. I don't have a degree in library science, but I like that job. And I mean, I always love being around kids. I don't want to work as a babysitter.
Yeah.
But I still am happy to spend
But at
time
this
with other
stage,
people's
I
kids.
feel like we just would watch our friends' kids.
Yes.
Right? Like, no one's paying us to do that. We just do it because we want them to have a night out or
Yes.
they'll take care of our kids sometimes.
That's
Like,
right. I remember the first time I watched my nephew when he was little, and my brother was like, should I pay you? And I'm like, no.
I'm the aunt.
Yeah.
We're
And
hanging
like,
out.
Come, you guys can go. Yeah, it's true. That's a different vibe. What about you? Do you miss your paper route?
Oh, no. No, not at all. But just the other day I was talking to my kids and it came up about jobs and I said, if I didn't have my job now, I'd like to work in the library. And they were like, how would that be? And I mentioned I don't have a degree in library science and they didn't believe that was a thing.
That's silly.
Library science, like, what do you have to know? There's so much you have to know.
There's so much to know. Like most jobs, there's lots to learn. Yeah.
Anyway.
I also think, though, lots of teenagers work in libraries doing the tasks that they can do.
Yeah.
Without a lot of training.
So maybe that's what they're thinking.
Maybe,
But
yeah.
no, I would like to be a proper librarian.
Maybe one day we'll work at a library together.
That would be fun. I would love to work in the programming aspect, especially.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm in libraries these days do so much more than they used to.
Listen, we could talk for hours about libraries. We can again.
Go listen to it. Come back, tell us what you think.
But no, there's no job that I don't crave, the service industry, working in the service industry,
hard work.
anything working directly with the public like that it's hard.
It's tiring.
Yeah.
Yeah. And people are grumpy sometimes. Like, just enough. Most people are lovely, but there's just enough people who feel like if you're in a service job, they can be rude with
and
you.
the hours, right? It's often evenings and I'm tired.
We're no longer youthful 16-year-olds, right? We want to sit on the couch at night.
Which, it's good because that means we're saving those jobs for the 16-year-olds.
Those are their jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've moved on. Anyway, you should tell us about your first job.
Yes, please. Especially if you grew up somewhere that isn't here. I'd love to hear what that was like. What is a typical age for people to start working? And what kinds of jobs do people do?
Yeah. You can let us know by commenting on our video on YouTube if you're watching this there, or Facebook, Instagram, anywhere you can find us is a place we'd like to hear from you.
Yeah. All right. Talk to you soon.